welcome everyone to GCC regular board meeting, January the 28th at 4:45. Welcome. We will have board member roll call, board member Block,
Here.
board member Anderson,
Here.
board member Turner.
Present.
We have one board member absent, Mr. Mandrick, and board member Campbell present. Are we on?
I think we're on right now.
Okay, great, good. Again, welcome everyone. Welcome to our first board meeting for 2020. Although some of us have been together at the EPIC hearing, which was very wonderful, and we really appreciate so many of you being there. So now we are ready to address our own issues. I will do this at the board meeting. So with that, we have no public comments. No public comments, okay. And our superintendent is at a conference, left today for the superintendent symposium. And she called me this morning to let me know that she had to leave out for the superintendent symposium, but we will continue with business at hand because we have our cabinet members here to do that. So with that, are you going to do some of the superintendent's update? Did she leave it with you?
Yes, I will.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jason.
All right, so good afternoon and evening, Madam President and board, as well as members of the public. It's obvious I am not Dr. Peterson, so there you have it. But she did want to share a few things with you. First, definitely want to wish everyone a happy new year and to welcome everyone to the new calendar year, which is 2020. Also, we want to remind everyone that tonight's meeting is being live streamed on the GCC website, as well as playing live at each of our school sites. And this is a part of the SB 126 governance, which we have been practicing this for a year now. So this is not new to us. As Board President Campbell has shared, Dr. Peterson is attending the Superintendent Symposium, and she also just returned this weekend from FICMAT. Dr. Peterson has concluded Crucial Conversations Cohort 20. Believe it or not, her and Dr. McCormick worked with that last year, and they are beginning to start Cohort 21. So very exciting time. And speaking of Dr. McCormick, we have a new staff member that we would like to introduce at this time. So.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am excited to introduce to you Paula Carmesino. She is our new Director of Data and Accountability and Assessment Systems. 2 weeks, yes. I think 2 weeks. So Paula came to us from the Alameda County Office of Education with about 20 plus years experience with CalPADS and data and accountability systems and ARIES. So I am overjoyed to have her on our team.
Welcome. And you came from Alameda. It's mighty quiet here, isn't it?
Yes. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, we welcome you and very glad, and we're glad to have this position filled. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Also, Dr. Peterson has been conducting mid-year check-in meetings and evaluations with GCC cabinet members as well as principals. And again, this really speaks to our continued culture of growth and developing our staff overall from the cabinet all the way through. Finally, there's been a lot of work in terms of reviewing mid-year academic progress and performance at each of our school sites, and a lot of conversations are happening about that. Coffee with the Superintendent has started, and at this point, Dr. Peterson has done coffee at COA Elementary, GIS, as well as EPIC. And you may know that she just finished fall superintendent's presentations, and shortly after that, we'll start spring. The GCC teacher leaders, they met with Lau Kirkman and Dr. Peterson, and they're continuing their growth and development. Michael Gillespie and his team have been hard at work with each school site around coherence and their coherence teams as we continue one of those key initiatives and the work that's happening there. We've had a number of meetings in terms of our GCC administrators, principals, vice principals, as well as central office to end the year as well as start this new year off correct. Dr. Peterson and the SABA team recently attended the SCOE Curriculum Breakfast, where the topic was really dealing with ACEs, adverse childhood experiences and trauma, and a lot of good information there. The cabinet, we are hard at work preparing for the board retreat and planning and working on our various presentations for you. A few other highlights that we want to share with you. EPIC, earlier this month on the 14th. That's the reason we rescheduled our meeting. EPIC was renewed, so we're excited about that on a 4-0 vote for a 5-year renewal, and we are currently in MOU negotiations. So very happy, and we want to affirm our Ed Services team, Michael, Chris, Mike B, for all their work, EPIC's team, Jerry, Ashley, Nina, Lavima, their parent liaison, and then of course our own team, really Sergey leading a lot of the politics and the board relationship. So we definitely want to affirm the teams for a phenomenal job in making this happen.
Yes.
For the big clap. Speaking of renewals, we have started GIS's renewal. Just to let you know, board, we have started the season of renewals. We started the process, and it's important to note that this will be our first renewal post AB 1505. So the document has already been sent to legal for review and update, and then they'll send it back and we'll start the education portion. We're proud to announce that the GCC Foundation received a grant from Sierra Health Foundation, My Brother's Keeper, and the Obama Foundation for $10,000 for a mentoring program working with students at HLA, SABA, and CCCS. And we want to affirm our community engagement specialist, Aisha Britt, for the work she did in making that a reality. Twin Rivers annual visits have concluded and were conducted this past week with Dr. Lori Grace, who replaced Dr. Noguchi, and Francie Hine, who's the consultant that's been working the last 2 years, and we're proud to say that the visits all went well. Very impressed with the work that they saw at each of our school sites, and we will anxiously await their final report that comes out. Finally, want to update you and let you know that the GCC Craft Feed, which you have a flyer at your space on the table for, will be on the wonderful day of March 5th, 2020 this year. The event will be at the California Aerospace Museum, and so we are looking forward to each of you coming out, enjoying the night, and having a lot of fun, and also sharing it with your contacts and individuals so that we can fill our tables and all that good stuff. Finally, I am proud to share with the board that our own board president, Ms. Lily Campbell, will be recognized by the Russian American media as an educational leader at the state capitol. Surprise. So, every year, the Russian American media group, and I'll ask Sergey if he'll come and share a little bit about the history of the Capitol reception that happens, and that Ms. Lily will be recognized.
You know, I don't do surprises.
I know, that's
I do not.
Yes, it is an event where part of the event is to recognize leaders from community at large and Slavic community, educational community for some outstanding work that they're doing, and the recommendation that was made from the Slavic community leadership was to honor you, Ms. Lilia, this time. So yes, well deserved. I mean, not to say that the other board members like, but I don't think you missed any of the events of any of the quote unquote schools with our community there. I'm trying to be mindful of video streaming, of course. Yes.
Thank you.
So we want to say to Ms. Lily, congratulations on such a wonderful honor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And then finally, and just because I'm sitting here, I can say it, and I probably will get in trouble for this and she will kill me, but Dr. Cindy Peterson is also being recognized as the Outstanding Woman Leader for AXA Region 3 this year. And so we are proud of her for that. And again, she will kill me for saying that and sharing that with you tonight. So. Final thing is on Thursday, we will have our GCC Parent Summit.
And I will be here.
Down to El Paso site at 5 o'clock. We welcome you to join us. So as you can tell, a lot of busy things happen in the GCC, and that is her report.
Board members, comments?
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Right, I didn't know anything
Now
about it.
you have to give your acceptance speech.
In Russian. You're
Yeah.
gonna have to.
It's all in the English.
You're gonna have to help
I'm
me.
certainly going to work with you.
I do tell radio every year, and I just talk and I keep saying, slow down, so we can translate. So I'm sure it's gonna be interesting. Thank you. It is a surprise, but thank you very much for those who nominated. Okay, so with that, get back to where I am. We are now at the study session, 2018-19 Independent Audit Report. Mr. Businessman. Yes.
Thank you, Board. I have Sarah Ellis here from Gilbert Associates to present the audit report and required disclosures. And you should all have a copy of that with you.
How many awards for you?
Sarah, this
I
is-
know the report.
No, not even a candy bar?
Just a finished, completed audit report on time.
Yeah,
Well, that's
on-time
good enough.
report. That's good.
That's
But
good.
if I'm correct, Gilbert is all about relax.
Yeah, relax.
Right.
You got
Right?
this.
So, you should have two documents in your packet. The first one is one that looks like this, the
Yes.
required communication with those charts of governance. And so what I'm gonna do is walk through that and then I'll highlight a few things in the audit report for you. Mostly point out some of the changes from the prior year, due to the implementation of new standard this year. So, not this year, I guess I should say 2019 year. You're already halfway through into your next fiscal year. So, on the first page, talking about responsibilities and opinions, this reiterates what's in our engagement letter. It talks about that the financial statements and the compilation of them is management's responsibility. And we are hired and engaged by you as the board to audit those financial statements and issue an opinion on those. We do have 3 auditor opinions in these packet of financial statements. The first one's over the financial statements themselves, and that is an unmodified opinion, so a clean opinion. The second one is over federal compliance, and we perform procedures under the uniform guidance as required. We can have over $750,000 in federal expenditures. That also has a unmodified opinion, clean opinion. And then lastly, the K-12 audit guide requires that we perform procedures over all of the state compliance requirements at all of the schools. We did have some instances of non-compliance which are disclosed in the findings section. We'll go over that. That caused us to have a modified opinion on state compliance, meaning we give an opinion on everything except for those 3 items that we identified. To highlight our interactions with management, if there were any consultations with other CPAs, such as opinion shopping, maybe management didn't agree with our opinion on something, if they were consulting with an outside CPA, that CPA, under the standards, is required to let us know that. One, to make sure they know all facts and circumstances for the advice they're providing. To our knowledge, there were no other outside consultations with management and other CPAs. Disagreements with management, if we had any resolved or unresolved disagreements, we'd let you know about that. We're pleased to report there were no disagreements with management. We moved through the audit and were able to complete them. Management's representations, at the close of the audit, they provide representation to us that the financials are complete and accurate, subsequent events are disclosed, anything like that, and therefore allows us to issue our audit opinion. And then finally, difficulties encountered in performing the audit, there weren't. Management was well prepared and got us all the information we needed to be able to finish timely. We do start your audit later in the fall, late October, early November, and we were able to issue by the December 16th deadline. So that's a testament to management being prepared and ready. And we also started the same week you and had a new team member. So it was busy for them, but the qualitative aspects of accounting practices. So, management follows significant accounting policies when they compile the financials, and that's for nonprofit organizations. And so what we do when we audit is we make sure that those policies are adhered to and that they are, so we audit to what those policies are. I want to highlight here that there was a change in the policies this year, and that was for the presentation of the nonprofit financial statements. And the three things that impacted Gateway was basically it was a simplification of the net asset classes. It went from 3 classes to 2 classes. So previously, nonprofit financials had unrestricted, temporary restricted, and permanently restricted, although you didn't have permanently restricted. But now it's called with under restriction and without under restriction. So it's a simplification of the presentation of financials. The second thing is a statement of functional expenses is now required as part of the basic financial statements. Previously, that was in your supplemental schedules because the oversight agencies like to see how you spent your dollars by natural classification, your salaries, benefits, services, and operating. And now that's actually part of required financial statements. So that's a new schedule and that will get to the report. And lastly, there's a new footnote disclosure required about liquidity. They were finding that boards and or readers of the financials were understanding what really was liquid and what was available for the next fiscal year. And so there's a footnote describing management's what's available and management's policy is to manage the liquidity. The next section is management judgments and accounting estimates. Again, management compiles the financials. They use judgments and estimates. The most significant estimates in these financials are the collectibility of receivables, the useful life of the property and equipment that you have, as well as the allocation of the functional expenses between program and supporting services. Those are what we consider significant estimates that we definitely hone in on those, and we make sure they seem reasonable and in accordance with general practices for nonprofits. And then finally, the results of the audit here on the right side of this document. Again, we planned, scope, and timing. We were able to perform the audit based on our original plan and timing and issue by the deadline of December 16th. Other findings and other issues, as mentioned previously, there are 3 compliance findings that we will go over in the report. And finally, there wasn't anything that occurred between management and us that was different than under our professional relationship. There wasn't any coercion or we won't hire you if you don't do those kinds of things. And that is where we would discuss that if there was an issue. And then finally, if there were significant adjustments or disclosures that we had to add to the financials that were missed, we would let you know. There were no significant adjustments or omitted disclosures. And the last page here talks about the supplementary information. And these are the basic financial statements, and then there's supplementary information such as the ADA schedule, the instructional time schedule, this combining schedule by school site. Again, we issue our opinion on Gateway as a whole, as a consolidated entity, but we do have charter schools that combine, and so that supplemental information is in the back of the financials as supplemental information, and we give it in relation to opinion. We do enough work to make sure things are in the right buckets and right school sites, and then ensure that flows up into the financials that we're auditing as a whole. Any questions about that document? Okay. And then moving on to the report, I know I'm going fast and told you to quick, short, 15 minutes. Okay. All right, so at the table of contents, page 1 through 7, these are your basic financial statements that I mentioned, and then 19 through 34 are the supplementary information section, and then lastly 35 through 39 are our auditor reports. So page 1 and 2 is our opinion on the financial statements. So again, at the top of page 2, there's our opinion. That's an unmodified opinion that the financial statements are fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Page 3, this is your statement of financial position. We look at current assets to your current liabilities and ensure that you have sufficient liquidity. You guys have 3 to 1, 3 times current assets to current liabilities, and so a benchmark to look at is make sure you have over 1.5, and so the organization has sufficient assets to pay their obligations. Another thing to look at is we look at net assets, and you have $54 million without unrestricted or without donor restricted net assets. And we look at what is liquid in that. And so we take out prepaid expenses and your property and equipment net of the related debt for that property and equipment. And that brings you down to a net liquid reserve of $12.9 million. That calculates to about 38% of your operating expenses. And so, big districts have a requirement of about 5%. So from the district world, you have 38%, so it's healthy. Certainly in the nonprofit side of things, 3 to 6 months is a healthy benchmark to have, and the organization has 4.54 months. So very, very big reserves. Okay, page 4, this is your statement of activity. This is the revenue that was earned by the organization for the year and the expenses that were incurred and obligated for during the year. You can see here overall down toward the bottom an increase in net assets of $2.89 million. So that is an increase in those reserves that we talked about. Page 5, this is the new schedule in 2019 that's part of the basic financial statements here. You can see you have program services. Your programs are your education and the services you provide, and then your supporting services are your general and administrative costs. You can see that you spend $46 million on the program and $8.4 million on supporting services. Very healthy ratios there. That is a new schedule. This used to be summarized in the back again, and so this is now moved forward with the basic financial statements. Page 6 is your statement of cash flows. No significant changes there over the prior year. This shows cash that you received from operating activities and what you used for investing. You can see no significant there in purchases of property and equipment. Page 7, this is talks about your operations. Again, you had 2 new schools, two new Saba schools open this year. So you went from 7 schools to 9 schools. That highlights that here in the note 1. Note 2 are those significant accounting policies we talked about with the accounting policies for nonprofit organizations that you follow. Again, highlighted at the bottom of page 8 is the adoption of the ASU 2016-14. That's a presentation of the financial statements for nonprofits. So that is the one change you have here. The next paragraph at the bottom of page 8 and the following paragraph on the top of page 9, these are 2 new standards that are applicable for the 2020 fiscal year. So the year that you're currently in, the 1920 fiscal year, that is revenue recognition. So that has changed dramatically for many niches. So really what the U.S. GAAP did was align U.S. GAAP with international standards. And so there's one mechanism for recognizing revenue. If it's an exchange type transaction, you have to be at 5 principles before you can recognize that revenue. That doesn't have a significant impact to what Gateway does. You guys have a significant amount of grants and things that come from the state, and so that falls under the next standard, topic 958 ASU 2018-08. That was issued after topic 606 because once that revenue recognition standard was adopted or implemented, they said, well, how does that apply to nonprofits? Because they aren't always in a reciprocal exchange type transaction. So that's why they issued this next update and this applies to nonprofit organizations. And so the first thing an organization has to do is determine, is there an exchange type transaction or is it a contribution? And that determines which revenue recognition policy you follow. I provided Aaron and his team some information on that, and there'll be, we can spend some time with that with management prior to finalizing the year end and ensure that they're on the right track with ensuring that there aren't any significant changes. I do have several charter organizations that had to adopt it early because they have public bond money, or had to adopt it with public companies. And so we've already been through the process this past year with other organizations. And we're seeing that the charters didn't have a significant amount of changes to what their current practice is. Okay, and then on page 9, I want to highlight for you note 3. That's that last item on for the adoption of the new presentation this year. That liquidity and availability of resources. The requirement is to show your total financial assets that are available within a year. And then, of course, you would exclude things such as board restrictions and restrictions by donors for a certain purpose. And so that leaves $22.8 million there available within 1 year, which is 5 months of liquid available assets. I'm going to skip ahead. Most of these next pages between 9 and 13 are very consistent with the prior year. No significant changes there. I on page 14, the net assets. You have some of the net assets that, again, we talked about unrestricted net assets, or those without no restriction. And then you do have some net assets and cash or holding that have some restriction. And so this highlights at the bottom of page 4 those assets that are available for these specific purposes: instructional materials, clean energy projects, and some new grants with the low performing and professional development block grants, and then money selected for construction facilities. So that equals $547,000. Okay, jumping ahead to page 19 and 20, we're into the supplementary information section of the report. These are required items as part of what the oversight agencies like to see. 19 and 20 is your organization, governing board, and administration. Page 21 and 22, this is the average daily attendance. And they want to see classroom-based versus non-classroom-based. And this is, they align this. This ties to what you submitted on your P2s that you did at P2s and in your P annuals. We audit that information and ensure it's accurate and according to both areas. Page 23 to 24, this is the requirement for instructional time in the classroom-based schools. They are required to show the requirements and then what the schools show is going to be offered. Page 25 and 26, this is your schedule of expenditures and federal awards. This shows that you have $2.7 million of federal dollars as required by uniform guidance. If you have over $750,000 of federal expenditures, we do a separate single audit that I mentioned of the uniform guidance. And we tested the Title I program this year, and there were no findings in that program based on the procedures we performed. Page 27 to page 33, this is the combining info by the school sites. All the information that totals up to the financial statements at the front that are combined. This shows the information by the school sites. Because again, these are separate charters, and your oversight agencies need to see that information at the charter level. Page 34, this is a reconciliation of your annual, the unaudited actuals that you submit to what the financial statements report. And the reason for that is that during the year you keep your books and records on a modified accrual basis, meaning they don't have the property and equipment reflected on them and they don't have the debt reflected. And so there's a conversion that happens the time they submit the unaudited actuals and they prepare for the audit to get them in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So that details that information for the oversight agency so they can see, well, what's different from what you previously submitted. And then finally, the next three letters, page 35, this is the start of the remaining of our auditor reports. The first one is a report on internal control or financial reporting and compliance. The first section, indicates that as part of our audit, we gain an understanding of internal controls that helps us design our tests and our procedures, not for the purpose of issuing any kind of an opinion on the effectiveness or efficiency of them. Rather, it helps us determine how much work we need to do, our controls functioning. However, if we had identified issues that under the audit standards were deemed to be significant deficiencies and material weaknesses, they would be reported here. So again, there's no material weaknesses to highlight here. The top of page 36 talks about the compliance and other matters. We did have some compliance findings. As required, we disclosed 3 instances of non-compliance and state compliance, and so that refers the reader of these financials to findings 2019-01, 02, and 03. So we'll highlight that as we get to the back. Page 37 and 38, this is our independent auditor's report on state compliance. Again, this is where the findings were found, and so you can see the opinion and the basis for our qualified opinion on page 38. And again, it refers to those findings in the back of the report. Finally, page 39 and 40, this is another auditor opinion on our report on compliance for each major program on internal control over compliance required by uniform guidance. So on the top of page 40, this is our opinion on the federal program that we tested, and it's a clean opinion. Lastly is the findings and question cost section. And we can jump ahead here to the state compliance findings, and I'll highlight them quickly. Most of them, they're not very significant, although we don't get to determine if they're significant or not. If there's a finding, we have to report it. It's real black and white for what we do. We don't use auditor judgment or materiality or those types of things. So the first one, we had some findings in 2 schools in the A6 program. This is a after-school and education safety
Yes.
program. And it's a repeat finding. There was the same finding, and it has to do with documentation of early release for that program. So I know management's working with their team and implementing some changes there. So you can see this is a lot of information. This is the format required by the oversight agencies to report all of this information. The next finding is unduplicated local control funding pupil counts. This again is also a repeat finding. We found one student that was designated as an English learner that was marked as reclassified to proficient without proper support in the file. So if you look on the next page, it calculates an estimated over apportionment of $277. So again, not very significant one out of all the schools, but I have to highlight it and let you know about it. So,
277, okay.
and so they will probably follow up with Aaron on that.
Aaron,
Write him a check.
write them a check
Yeah,
and send it
yeah.
to them.
And then the final one was something that we identified during our interim field work. And so we come out at the interim time frame and we come back at year end. What we had found is that some of these these EPA funds were budgeted, and a little bit of it was spent on administrative items, which is that has to be excluded. So we let management know about it. They corrected they did a budget amendment, and they also removed needs. It was like $5,000 that they thought were spending, and fixed it prior to submitting their audit actuals. So we wanted to highlight here, we found this error, but it was before we even finished the audit, it was fixed by management. So that is verified and documented as well. Any questions about the report or the findings or anything that we do?
Okay.
Yes.
What is it?
Well, again, a very impressive, detailed presentation, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a number of points. I'm always impressed where you could find the one English learner that out of 5,000 students that we have misclassified. A couple of questions. Aaron maybe could answer these. The unrestricted 22 million we have, that isn't really for Gateway. For all, that includes all of our schools, so a lot of that is school specific. I think that should be understood, and then we'll go unrestricted.
Yeah, and there's actually a portion of the report that breaks it down by school.
You're
Yeah,
talking about the
Yeah.
20.9 million,
Yeah.
but yes,
Oh.
that is in the combining schedule. So you can see what schools, what their portion of that is.
Yeah.
and the liability kind of, we're not used to that, kind of jumps out, but that's as a result of our Rancho El Paso
Yeah.
campus and the loans that we have on that property.
Yes, yeah, that's gonna be a significant change.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear, because that kind of jumps out at you, that the reality is it's not a result of us not funding the STIRS or PERS or any of that, so that, yeah, it's
It's for
something we can
assets.
easily identify. And then I guess finally, and you kind of alluded to it, the standards have changed. And I'm not exactly sure, those certainly driven somewhat on the federal level, but are they also some of the reflection of the new legislation in this country also? Are we needing any new standards as a result of that?
Not, the audit guide is
Or
issued.
statewide, yeah.
Is statewide, they issue that every year. I'm not aware of any significant, they will probably in their March update. That's what happens, they'll let us know of any changes we need to make in the procedures that are
So
tested.
we probably could expect that the state is going to recommend some new standards for charter schools.
They do not need, whatever's out is out, the standards as far as what's required to be tested will probably be increased in future years by what your auditors are required to look at.
Well, again, thank you, and it's a very thorough report, and also to your staff, the comments in here about working with the auditors and so forth, so it's certainly to you and your staff.
And we note that you had just hired a new person when she came in, so that was very significant.
Thank you, Amira.
There you are.
Support.
First week, I think it was day 2 or something.
Yes.
So they did a great job. We appreciate working with you, and thank you for choosing
Well,
Gilbert.
we do appreciate your reporting and giving us accurate information. And like you say, not saying if you do this, we'll do that. So thank you so
Oh, yeah.
much. for your report. Board members, anything else? And again, I want to give accolades to you, sir, business, and to your staff for this wonderful report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Have a
much.
good evening.
And we do give you, we'll give you a moment to leave.
Yeah, you don't have to stay for the whole.
Thank you. Okay, board members, we will continue on with our board meeting. We're now to consent agenda items, and just for the audience, adoption of minutes of the December 10th meeting, personnel consent agenda items, nothing there, purchases over 30,000, COA shade structure, COA middle school classroom upgrades, Rancho Del Paso Phase 1 for maintenance, storage, and trash, we talked about that. GCC Board resolution in support of Proposition 13, public preschool, K-12 college health and safety board. And 6.5 Carter Kelly wheelchair lift for Rancho Del Paso, revised substitute pay for rate schedule, and 2020 school year calendar. These are the items right now on the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion for discussion.
Move approval.
All right, any discussion?
I'm just curious about the wheelchair lift. Is that a new requirement?
So that, my understanding is that's for the stage.
Yes.
At the Rancho
Oh, for
Del
the
Paso
stage.
site.
Stage,
So, for ADA access.
And I
to the
think they
stage.
had already started, was already allocated, and then they're finishing from what I read in the write-up.
Already allocated. I mean, so where is this? Because I'm over there, I don't even know where that.
Right at the-
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this room.
Yeah, so if you're looking from the front, it's on the left-hand side.
It's on the, exactly.
So it was was it in the original proposal when we built the school that was supposed to be
It
built?
was, but it was taken out and then.
Because it has to be back in, it has to be.
No, it doesn't, no, it could be a ramp too, it could be a
Yeah.
ramp,
Right.
a ramp. That's why I was
The
wondering.
original design had a ramp coming in from the backside, or remember like this big concrete stage, that was all taken out, so we had to then do it.
Okay,
No, I'm not okay, but done, so, thank you. And I would have questioned that before it got done, what they were doing, because like we got to tear out stuff, put stuff in, and it's costing, there's some costs in it. That's what I'm looking at. That was one thing, that was one of the things I had. And then the other thing, hold on, you finish, Mark?
I am.
Okay. The maintenance, storage, and trash enclosure, I'm lost on it. Storage, and that's 6.33?
Yeah.
yeah, 6.33.
Yeah, so the trash enclosure was originally built, did not hold the dumpsters, the appropriate size, and they were having some issues with getting those dumpsters to fit in, and there's some increased like recycling requirements, and now there's gonna be composting requirements. And so what we're doing is we're moving that enclosure to a better area and a better size so that all of the dumpsters fit properly and they're not hanging all outside of the enclosure. And so that's what this item is proposing to do to repair that issue.
Yeah, I was looking at costs on that too.
Yeah.
I'm the person that look at costs. I'm a penny pincher, I'm gonna tell you that. So I'm looking at costs.
We are.
Yeah, we are definitely.
Was that a design flaw by the architect or what?
Well, I think it depends on, what they expected as to how, the size of the dumpsters and how we were gonna use them, how often they would be picked up each week. And that probably could have been better, thought about as to, okay, well, we're gonna have this size, we're gonna have it only picked up maybe twice a week, but if you have a smaller size dumpster, then it has to be picked up more frequently, which that can end up costing more because there's more trips by the garbage man, garbage person. So this is to kind of get it to the proper
To the
place
line it's
now.
supposed to be.
Now we know
Yeah.
how much garbage is being
Yeah.
produced by the
Of course, you
site,
don't know that.
and, yeah.
Are they being locked?
Jerry can confirm, are they, the dumpsters being locked? I'm pretty sure they are, but.
Yeah, they'll be behind the enclosure now, plus they're behind the fence, the perimeter fence of the campus.
Okay, yeah, because
People
just
drive,
dump it.
yeah. no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have illegal dumping problems.
I used to be in that business, so.
Yeah. Anything, any other discussion? Yes.
We'll follow up on Harry's comment, kind of for the stage, because the stage was taken out when we were building the facility, we added it back. Can a ramp take the place of the elevator? And couldn't we get a cost
It
on that?
could have, but it would have been, the ramp would have intruded on the basketball court and the other areas.
Because that's a permanent structure,
Yeah.
it's not a.
Jerry, do you know if the ramp would have actually been more expensive possibly? I don't.
It probably would have been about the same amount of money to do a ramp, because of the length that would have to be to go up there. And like they said, it would have intruded onto the basketball court, or it would have blocked, you couldn't have blocked the access to the restrooms or the entrance doors, so it wouldn't have, the design of it wouldn't have worked out to have a ramp on it.
No, just a comment that Harry's absolutely right. The value added when we're taking things out on the site, they always come back. And because they're there for a reason, so I will support the elevator, but I know that's an expense that we were not looking at.
We probably use that ramp, that lift probably, let's see, how many times a year? Maybe once, twice, but it's okay.
It's there. All right. Then, yes, yeah. Okay, hearing no other discussion, I will call for vote. All in favor of the consent agenda items, voting sign of aye. Opposed? I know it is. That's what I was laughing at. Well, anyway, the ayes have it, so moved. Consent agenda items. All right, we're to item 7.1 business, the 2018-19 independent audit report, which you just heard.
Yeah.
Anything else that you wanted to say?
No, just, thanks again to Elmira, being like the first or second week on the job to get all the items as quickly as possible. We were running behind and getting caught up with that from the field work of the audit, so I appreciate that, and I have nothing further to add, so this is just the item to accept.
To accept, yes, that is correct. So I will entertain a motion to accept the 2018-19 independent audit report. So moved. Second, any more discussion? Yes.
Just a question. The audit report goes to our LEAs, goes to the state and to where else?
The county offices of education, the state controller's office, the charter SELPA, and I think the federal government also has a copy of it.
In your many years of being here, have you ever got any feedback saying the job well done?
From any of the entities?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, Mr. Block.
I was just, I didn't report is fine, but since we have enough time to come up, look at the door. That's not looking fine.
Yes.
I'm just gonna have enough time. I'd like to get a little,
Okay, hearing no other comments, all in favor of adopting the 2018-19 independent audit report, voting sign of aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. So moved. All right, then we move to item 9, facilities. 9.1, selection of site work construction manager, general contractor for Rancho Del Paso modular projections. And
So this is part of the modular project that the board approved back in November,
Yes.
the Sava Power Insight, that board meeting. And so this is, we needed to select a contractor to do the site work for the modular project and the connection of the utilities. So, being that this project, our goal is to have this project completed by the start of the 2020-21 school year, we have to work pretty fast. And so what we're doing is to keep the project moving along as quickly as possible. We, in December, we invited 3 construction companies to qualify for the site work and the utilities. We sent an invitation to Carter Kelly, Clark and Sullivan, and Sierra View, 3 construction companies. And we asked those construction companies to provide an estimated cost for the site work, and information regarding their financials, insurance coverage, accident history, and to determine the risk of engaging with these companies. One of the companies declined to continue, that was Sierra View. And so we had Carter Kelly and Clark and Sullivan. So we had a scoring criteria based on cost and these other risk factors. Carter Kelly did score the highest based on that criteria. And so based on that, we recommend that the board select Carter Kelly so that we can continue working with them during the planning phase of this. And then once the plans are fully approved, Carter Kelly will provide that final bid and contract for us.
Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion for the site work construction for Carter Kelly. Yeah. I will entertain a motion.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
Move approval.
Second.
Second. Okay, now discussion. Any questions and concerns or that you
So
like
this
to?
can be done while school's in session?
No.
Okay.
This will be right when school gets out, and I believe that's May 31st, it's the last day of school. I mean, right the week of that, they're gonna start tearing up the ground and getting it ready.
And this is a modular, so we're
Yeah.
be getting this in kind of section pieces and all of that, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Remember, we
We saw a
discussed,
render
yeah,
on
we
it, but I
saw,
don't remember. all
yeah,
that.
right, we saw a markup, a design of it.
Right,
Yeah, right.
And so they'll have it completed before the new school year.
That is the plan, yes.
Okay. And it was laid out where it would be and all.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? No concerns?
I'm gonna be quiet.
Okay, all right, well, good. Hearing none, all in favor of selection, general contractor for Rancho Del Paso, voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, I'm sorry, you raised your hand.
He said aye.
Oh, he said aye, okay, all right, thank you, I wasn't sure. The ayes have it, so it's moved. When he raised his hand, I didn't know if that was a no or a yes. All right. Okay, we've concluded. Board comments?
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I go.
All right,
Um,
go.
I've been attending all the basketball games between the schools, the Colette HLA, and the love is good. And, I mean, those kids are really enjoying that gym. I mean, they're having a good time.
It's being used,
It's being used, so it's great.
great.
Matter of fact, we have a little crowd there every time.
Oh,
Good.
Yeah.
good. And you did attend also the Epic hearing, so
Well, that looks like it.
that was okay. Right. Okay.
I got lost.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was
For a
great.
few minutes.
Okay, anything else?
Jason and I hosted a visioning session with some of our leadership. Christine was part of that. With Scott Crocker Marketing Communication. We're going to have a section on the retreat dealing with that piece, and we're hopefully going to have some information to share with you. We want to get your feedback as well on what the group came up with, and I think it's pretty exciting.
Okay. And you said vision, or we?
Well, it's taking our blueprint and taking it to the
Okay.
next level.
No.
So that's what we're talking about.
There was a lot of good, just to add to what Mark said, there was a lot of good input from the focus group that was there. It included not only some of our new staff, but some of our principals who've been with us for a while, parent liaison, and a few others. So we were really happy with it. And Mr. Floyd was also.
And Joey was there, sorry, Joey was part of it as well.
Anything?
No comments.
No comments? Well, as I alluded to the fact of the epic hearing, I was there and it was very well done. You know, there were some students who really spoke their little hearts out. It was really good. And again, you heard it was, one board member was absent, so they had a poor vote. But as I shared with Jackson Knight, I was sitting next to the president of the union, and he did speak. But he was so supportive of everything that was going on, and I thought he was gonna jump out of his seat when the kids were speaking, because he was just applauding them, and when the board voted, he gave a big applause. So I had not seen that kind of reaction from the union president, so I thought it was a good thing. And I will be going to the parent summit tomorrow night. The 30th, yeah, tomorrow night, Thursday night, oh yeah. Okay, not tomorrow night, okay, sorry about that. I thought tomorrow was the 30th. I'll be there by myself.
You said
Okay.
shockwaves through the room.
Well, I'll be there for the parent summit, Evangeline. So, announcement of the next board meeting?
Yes, our next board meeting, President, will be,
Is that the board retreat?
There should be one more.
no, we do have another
They'll
one.
have another meeting.
That I'm just confirming for you, but our next board meeting will be February the 11th at 4:45 here at the GCC.
45, February the 11th, okay. All right, here, GCC. When is the retreat? Do you have the date on that again?
And I'll let you know,
25th of February.
It is the 25th of February. I just gotta make sure my calendar is up to date. All right,
and in your calendars, you may see that the meeting for February the 11th says GIS, but with our new requirements of SB 126, we are having legal look at our practice of moving board meetings around. So at this time, we will have it here.
okay. And treat 25th, okay, and you will not be here, okay. Mark will be absent. Anything else for the good of the organization right now? We do have a closed session that we will be recessing for a closed session and then coming back with the findings. So if there are no other comments or nothing else, we will recess for closed session. Conference regarding real estate negotiations pursuant to Government Code 54956-8 property and some other numbers. All right, so break for that. And we'll- Where are we going?
We'll be in the
I'm gonna run.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you? Good. Good. So the audit was Friday was related to ACES.
But not your ACES program, the
Oh,
other
you're
two
kidding.
schools.
Oh, wow.
No, that was the other
I'm
two
not in
schools.
it.
How long did it go for? It's probably go this go. We go like this. That's about. She could have put an elevator in probably.
Yep, that's what I told him. I didn't sign in, so let me sign in that.
Courtney.
Whoppers.
Yeah, okay, I'm not so hurt, it's because it's not in bold.
We're still on. I know if there's an echo, then you can microphone up front. Did it work?
It's showing me, it's showing me still in candy from them.
Is Dana, she coming back?
No, I'm gonna close it out.
You gonna close, yeah?
Yeah, Diane's just gonna stop the streaming when it's time and.
Okay, I'll just say, okay, closed session, we're back from closed session, and no action was taken.
Right.
And so, with that, I will entertain a motion.
I move we adjourn.
Adjourn, second, all in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Okay.
Until the end of the month.
Till the
Thank
end
you.
of the month, okay, sweetie? Now, would you give me some more information?
Jack,
Thank you,
okay.
sir.
You driving back tonight, or you
Yeah,
staying?
no, I'm driving back. Take care.
All right, take your time.
Give you a picture.
You say you driving back?
Yeah.
Be careful.
Which one of those?
I guess.
It's paused, but.
Take care of you.
5:50.
My license on it actually.
So which
Oh,
one?
you, 6 o'clock.
10 to 6.
I hit pause.
10 to 6, yeah.
6:30, remember?
Yeah. 10 to 6. Are we off? Not yet.
All right,
Close the whole thing and then.
that's what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
Thank you, I don't know what it means.
Offline.
Offline, all right.
All right.
They'll see it.
That's it in English.
We good?
But it's like when I do the,
Evening, afternoon, sir.
I
How do you do?
check on these boards.
now, are you gonna have a table? What about the
No,
prayer
I'm going to be
thing?
in Mexico.
Oh, you're gonna be in Mexico.
Yeah, that's why I communicated with you, I wasn't around.
Yeah, no, I have a question about, there was a particular, fundraiser at one of the